Okay, so we are picking up on session 29 and a little bit of a recap of the last session. The group encountered Alora, who told them that basically the group had a meeting with the Council of Amon, including Alora, and they were told that the damage to the layer, to the tunnels and everything underneath the city was extensive. And having already caused one massive earthquake, they were concerned that another one would soon be imminent. Council decided that the best solution was a artifact called the Heart of Stone, which is a dwarven artifact that allows basically massive movements of earth at any given time that they could use to rebuild the cave-ins and the layers underneath the city to prevent the earthquakes. They reached out to the dwarves to obtain this artifact and found that it was stolen about 20 years ago by the Dark Elves, and the last known whereabouts of the Heart of Stone was the city of Nocturne. This information was given to the party, along with an offered reward of 50,000 gold pieces, 25,000 of which was to be given up. Alora also told the party that the city of Nocturne is very elusive and not many people know about it or its location. And she suggested that the party start by trying to find someone who could get them information. Of course, Dark Elves, the group went immediately to Vera. And while Vera herself wasn't familiar with the city of Nocturne, she did hear a rumor about a man in the city who had been raised as a slave in Nocturne and was freed. So the party went off in search of this man. They went to the home of Lord and Lady Gallius, where they were told that this man was some kind of servant. And this is where they encountered the eccentric butler, Randolph Phineas, for the first time. After some conversation, he admitted that he was the one who knew about Nocturne, and they hired him to be their guide. After this occurred, the group said that they would meet him at the Laughing Llama, and they slowly made their way over there just to find that he was already there, packed and ready to go. They made the decision from there to go ahead and visit Vale Aaron as they had intended earlier in the night. And the party went there, and Randolph Phineas had his very first encounter with Lysander. He has been pretty speechless since then. He hasn't really said any words. And the rest of the party had a discussion with Vale Aaron about the status of Lysander and their concerns. Aramil confronted Vale and said that while he, forget the wording, but he basically said that while he knows that Vale is, trying to help Lysander, he also has some selfish interests. And while that angered Vale, he admitted that Aramil was correct. And then the party all had an argument about giving Aramil a chance to talk to Lysander alone, which Vale wasn't okay with. They ended up with a compromise where Vale brought Lysander and Aramil down to the beach, and Aramil asked Lysander a number of questions, made a couple confessions, and Vale decided that for whatever reason, it was okay for him to leave. So that's where we left off, with Lysander and Aramil on the beach at night after everything that Aramil had asked him. And that's where we're going to pick it up. So Aramil, you guys are still standing on the beach. He's watching Vale as he walks up the cliffside stairs back to the keep. And then he turns back and looks at you. And to your surprise, he actually has a smile on his face. That's not something you've often seen with Lysander. And he gives a small chuckle and says, I think I know you well enough to realize how hard that was for you.
Aramel shakes his head. At one point, it was hard for me, but after so much happening, it felt so much easier to do.
I'm
People
glad
do
that you
change.
were.
People do change over time, and my spirit was strengthened, and I realized why I had to do this, and that I wanted to do this.
I'm glad that you were able to say those things. I got a little distracted. Honestly, I want to answer all of your questions. Can we just start with one?
Aramil crosses his legs and sits down on the sand, motioning for Lysander to join him. Yes, of course. I'll listen to them at whatever pace you would like.
He nods and sits down next to you. Which do you want me to answer first?
Aramil looks up at the stars and says, I'd like to know more about you first. About what happened that may have led up to what happened to you. So let's start with how you observed me exactly. If you were looking at everyone when I was doing my my journey to find balance, or if it was all of my tribe. How
So
did you
he's
even
sitting.
find us to start? Was it really
He's
you
sitting.
heard me?
He's sitting like halfway facing you, and he's looking over your shoulder, not really making eye contact. How much exactly do you know about me?
About you? Well, I really only know what we've shared, and uh, when we were talking to Stefan earlier and he recognized you, he told us a little bit about the history of some of the celestial beings, but honestly, it's not something that I'd ever learned before.
My father is the creator, AO. You can't really call him a father, but in the terms that you would recognize, that's probably the best word. At one time, he had a number of children who ran amok across the universe, causing destruction, causing chaos of all the things that my father had created and loved. To combat this, he created myself and my brother. Again, brother is a term I use loosely. There's no quite word for it. We were tasked to oversee the gods. In the beginning, the first ones, my brother would hunt them down. That was his job. To be among them, to hunt them down, to see their flaws and bring them to me for judgment. It was my job to remain impartial, to look at their deeds and to make a decision on whether or not they should continue to exist. It wasn't long before we reined in the first ones. They either became gods, stayed gods, were destroyed, or were thrown down. And after a time, the pantheon that you know today rose. My father, wary from all of the turmoil that the first children caused, went to sleep. And as far as I know, he has not yet wakened. This left myself and my brother to stand guard over the celestial gate and to oversee the gods. Our duties were very different. As I mentioned, he was expected to walk among the gods, to know them, to show his face, and let them live in fear of him. And my job was to stay back and observe and be quiet. It was lonely. After a millennia, the only person I ever had was my brother. And then one day, one of the guardian angels, one of the gods, came to me and told me, and I think we've discussed this, that there was a soul that was desperately injured and needed to be put out of his misery. But the family worshiped no gods, and the boy himself worshiped no gods. And that's how my attention was brought to you. I went there that day as a favor to that angel to put you out of your misery. He sort of leans forward and puts his elbows on his knees and his face in his hands. Obviously, I couldn't do it. Instead, I broke the rules. I was supposed to be impassive, completely unjudgmental. And I made my first mistake. After I saw to it that you lived, I grew curious. To answer your question, yes, I was watching you. But through the time of watching you, I also grew to know your family and all of the other people of your tribe. So I believe I've answered 2 of your questions.
I do remember that you told me that I was initially brought to your attention because I did not believe in any gods and none other had that sort of jurisdiction, but you never mentioned that your job was to send me to the afterlife. He sort of looks at his hands and says, "So I really was on the verge of death then."
You were.
His hand instinctively goes to his leg and he just rubs it slightly. Well, I'm very thankful, even though it didn't quite work out the way I had hoped. Looking back, I don't think that the actual healing itself that ended up coming, that intervention, was what caused our family to be tumultuous after that. I think there was something else going on. The more that I've looked into what happened to the surviving elves, the more I'm sure of it.
I want you to know I've been looking for them as well. Did the map just disappear?
Yep.
It
Maybe.
certainly did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You keep talking. I will take care of that.
Aramil shakes his head. You've been going out and looking for them? How have you been trying to figure out what's happened?
Not exactly going out, obviously. A large portion of my energy I've spent searching. For those that I've made contact with before, I'm able to sense them within a certain distance. Sometimes with a lot of effort and energy, I can extend that, but not very far. I have been looking, but I haven't found anything yet.
You know, if you wanted to go out and do something, you've been able to do it before. We went together to face the Abyssal Nightmare, and that was when you were still recovering. Seems that you're even better now.
In some ways.
Well, there is one other thing I'd like to ask you about for now. You briefly mentioned your brother's role, but I've always wanted to ask what happened to him. It seems that he's very important to you in some way. I'm just not sure.
The small smile that he's been wearing disappears. And you see him take a deep breath, even though he doesn't have to breathe. That is a question I can't answer. All I know is that he's the only thing I've ever had. And when I was in that box, when I was being tortured, I called out for him 1,000 times, and he didn't come. I don't know if it's because something's happened to him and it was by choice. Excuse me. I don't know if it's because something happened to him and it wasn't by choice, or if it's a decision that he... All I know is whatever... He sort of starts to break down a little bit.
Aramil moves to very gently hold his hand. It's okay, Lysander. He looks down at the sand too. Sometimes I wonder if my family's strange dealings ended up causing us this fate. But I know my family from growing up. And even if it turns out to be different from the truth, I can feel inside my mind that I know my family, and if they had known that something like this could happen, it would have never done. I don't know much about the relationship with your brother, but if you see him as family, as all you have, like the way that I've seen my family, and you've seen my family, I think you can take a deep breath and start letting those worries fade.
I can't, though. You don't you don't quite understand. He was angry with me. Very angry after I made my first mistake. And I admit I've made a number since then. And he warned me that no good was going to come of it. He warned me over and over. There is a very real possibility, Aramil, that what's happened to your family, what's happened to you, our friends, what's happened to me, is all because of my mistake, that this is my punishment. The place that I used to feel my brother is empty. I don't know if he's alive. From what Cord said, no one's seen him in all the time that I've been gone. But what I can tell you is that the bond between us is broken. And it's empty. And I had warning, I was just too blind to see it. This isn't your family's fault, Aramil, it's mine. I'm not an angel, I'm not a savior. I'm just a creature being punished for my actions.
Aramil looks at Lysander seriously. You think that what you've been through is someone that you considered your family punishing you?
I can't say anymore. If it had been you, and I had called for you, you would have come. You did come. It makes no sense to me that neither my father or my brother answered my pleas. I have to live with the fact that I'm alone. That for whatever reason, they've shut me out. And if he is well, then it's well within his power to have come to my aid. I've told Zane that I'm abandoned, and it was the truth.
Aramil's other hand balls to a small fist before he takes some breaths and, over the course of a few seconds, releases it. And he looks back to Lysander very calmly. If that's the case, then everyone you've met here will be your new bonds. If there's something you need and you come to us, we'll do everything we can to help. And I truly promise that. The hand around Lysander tightens. So it's okay to come to us. If you need help, you don't need to shoulder it as if you're alone. After all, both of us need to make it to when we can share a meal together, right? He holds up his arm, shows the bangle on his hand.
He gives you a small smile. I'm not used to needing help, but I do see that you're here and our friends are here. I'll do my best to ask for it when I need it.
Aramel gives Lysander another look. This isn't as pressingly on my mind, but I've realized that when we communicate through our shared bond, it's different from when you look at other people and communicate with them. Is that intentional? I thought it was strange.
It is intentional. It's easy for me to look in the minds of other people and remain passive. I can't do that with you.
Aramil takes a look at the stars and back to Lysander, thinking for a moment about what this could mean. He continues his slow, paced breathing, trying to both keep himself calm and through his physical contact with Lysander, help him calm down if he's experiencing anything. After thinking about what he said and focusing on it, he continues, is that why I can only see some parts of you? You don't want me to see exactly how you see me?
No matter how close we are, there are some things I will never be able to tell you, Aramil, because of who I am and what I do. But the answer to your question is yes. And in turn, I would never take that knowledge from you by going into your mind. I'm not sure I could bear. I'm not sure I could bear knowing what you think of me.
But we've I've tried to explain how I feel. And words aren't as strong as thought, but I hope at the very least you can understand me. If it's too much for you to handle, of course I wouldn't ask, but if you entered my mind like everyone else's, I would not be worried. But for your sake, you need to do whatever's best for yourself. He smiles at Aramil. I'm not sure what you're trying to avoid seeing, or trying to avoid feeling. And I can't know because when we connect, those parts of us don't meet. But I hope that you can find something to try and stem what's ailing you.
He looks very thoughtful for a moment. If you were a mother who loved a child, would you really want to know everything that that child thought of you? If you were a husband who loved a wife, would you want to know everything that that wife thought of you?
Aramil shakes his head. Both the good and the bad. They're what make up that bond. Of course there's going to be some of both, but if it's family, it should hopefully be overwhelming good. If it's someone you care about more than that, I can really only imagine.
He looks away. There's a difference between hope, expectation, and reality. And I'm not sure if I'm really ready to face that yet. Give me some time.
Aramil nods, still holding onto the hand. You can take all the time you need. In your own time, at your own pace. I hope that one day I'll learn what your hope is and you'll understand how I feel about you.
He's quiet for a really long time. Eventually, he just kind of lays back in the sand. Unless you have something in particular that you want to say to him, there's a couple more things he's going to say to you, and then we're going to flip over.
Aramil does have something else to say. 1 second.
Everyone doing okay?
Oh yeah, it's enthralling for real.
Yep.
You guys are doing a good job.
Lysander, do you feel better after sharing blood with Vale? Now that it's happened a few times, how do you feel?
So he's laying back in the sand now. He turns his head to look at you. Aramil, you're reminded about just how flipping beautiful he is. Out in the moonlight, his skin is gleaming. He's just absolutely beautiful. I thought you were going to bring that up. You still don't approve, do you?
Maybe a few days ago I wouldn't have approved, but since it's happened, I'm curious how you feel about it. If you still feel your sense of self, then I'm happy for you.
I'm not sure that I understand your question, but I can tell you that I didn't realize how bad my condition was when I didn't have the blood. Do I like it? No. Do I want to do it? No. But there's a difference between surviving and living. And I can't say no to the option of living.
Aramil lets out a small smile. I guess you didn't give me that option either.
Fair. That's fair. But to also be fair, no. Never mind. There's something I need you to do for me.
Aramil turns, his attention peaked. Of course.
The man that you brought here with you tonight, look over him.
Aramil nods. Of course. He'll be joining us, and if it's important to you, I'll make him feel like family.
I also need you to speak to Zane. He's teetering on the brink, Aramil. Every time I look at him, I see the shadows encroaching. He's about to make some very bad decisions that will change the course of his life and potentially our lives.
Aramil nods his head. I actually agree with you on that one. I was hoping to leave him to his own devices, of course, but being so far off from being involved with a city, I sort of let him be. But yes, of course. I won't let him succumb to that darkness. I'll be next to him and I'll pull him out of it if I have to.
The very first encounter he and I had was very hard on him. I know this. And I've barely been able to regain his trust at this point. If it came from me, I feel like he may never approach me again when the time comes for him to need my aid. Speak with Kamara and speak with Charlene and get their help. But you are going to have to intervene.
I understand.
There's kind of a long silence, and he looks up at the stars, and then after a while he glances over at you again. How do you intend to spend your night?
Well, I don't have much to do. I just need to make sure that my mind is sharp, my spirit strong, and my body ready for the journey ahead of us. Tomorrow I may have to say some goodbyes, but tonight, nothing.
He kind of crawls across the sand a little bit over next to you and lays his head in your lap. Then I'm going to claim your time.
Aramil very gently moves his hand so that it's no longer awkwardly stretched under where he's leaning. He moves it instead to very gently support Aramil in his lap, or support Lysander in his lap. And then Aramil will say, Of course. I'll spend as much time as you want. He looks up and says, with you and the stars.
Okay, so that's where we're going to kind of fade to black, not because of anything in particular that's happening, if you get my drift, but we're going to say that basically Aramel spends the evening there on the beach with Lysander. And we are going to skip to too many maps. Too many maps! I have dreams about maps. Give me a second. Hi, guys. Everybody awake?
Yep.
Everybody eat their popcorns?
Yo.
The music is making me sleepy.
Yeah, it's good music for the scene.
Did you notice? Well, Will wouldn't have known this, but did you notice that it was the same music from the attic?
Yeah. No. Maybe.
We still have our lovely Hanukkah.
Yep, for sure. It is most definitely not Hanukkah anymore.
No, it just looks like an upside down squished
Man,
spider. Okay.
When I start trying to talk in lower Aramel type voices, my actual voice goes lower. Sorry.
Don't complain
It's
to me. I'm a woman trying to roleplay a man.
You did a
Half the
great
time,
job.
people don't remember that I'm actually Kamara, and they think I'm being Casey. And so they actually respond to me to Casey instead of to Kamara, and I'm like sitting there like, oh, okay.
Oh, Kamara has an accent. I definitely hear the difference with Kamara. Okay, so we are returning to Vale Aaron's estate. We're backtracking maybe about 30 minutes to the time where Vale Aaron left with Lysander and Aramil. The group of you is left kind of standing awkwardly in Vale Aaron's bedroom when the trio leaves, and I will let you take it from there.
What did he show you?
I'm sorry, you guys broke up for a second. You're talking to Randolph? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. He's sitting down right now, just kind of dazed look. He kind of slowly looks and turns to you and just shakes his head a little bit and looks down. He says, I just need a moment. Kind of puts his hand on his head and sits there, silent. He's really, really shook up. His body language, everything, he looks really shook up.
I'll give you a moment, but then please explain, because anyone who thinks that shook up, there's something in their past, and we should know about it.
Kind of snickers at that. I've never experienced. Sorry, I lose myself. I've never experienced anything like that. That intrusion of one's mind is most improper. We must make preparations, correct?
Zane, looking at Randolph Phineas, the expression on his face a moment ago, you can only imagine that it matches how you felt your first encounter with Lysander.
Yeah.
I have many preparations to make.
Don't we all? We'll be gone for many, many months. I need to set things in motion so that I do not have to worry about them while we're gone.
Yes, if there's anything you need me to take care of, just give me a list. I will try my best. I mainly need to make sure I secure the proper passage with a good guard group. I have someone in mind, but I must speak to them.
You mentioned something about cutting my hair. I've been meaning to.
Just maybe later after you bathe.
Sorry.
Haven't I already bathed?
It's
Yeah.
the end of the day,
yeah,
right?
He's been bathing
I'm-
a lot more than anybody else, so you're very
pretty
picky.
He's a lord. You must look the part. Come. Oh, well, we can't leave until they're back. Sorry. Retcon that.
That's okay.
We should
it's-
probably wait until they get back.
Yes, thank you.
It's a couple of minutes later that you guys hear heavy footsteps in the hallway, and to your surprise, after the big deal that he made about it, you see Vale Aaron returning alone.
Is everything all right?
We'll see. Either
So
it goes
finally-
well or it doesn't.
So you finally trust him. For that.
Trust who? Aramil or Lysander?
Aramel? I assumed you trust Lysander because he's connected to you, and you haven't been substituting Aramel, but I guess there's more than I imagined.
I don't trust easily, but I don't think he was lying either. I know he wasn't lying.
He doesn't normally lie.
He does seem rather naive. My concern is that his lack of tact won't fall well on Lysander.
Well, this talk is a long time in the making. This had to happen.
He nods.
Definitely.
Well, after they return, we will have to start our preparations to leave on our journey. I would like to speak with you, Aaron, a bit more about what we spoke about earlier, to make sure that we have a plan in place for while I'm gone.
Well, there's no time like the present.
I am here. Let's maybe speak in private.
Is that necessary?
Well, one of us doesn't fully know yet.
He nods and he turns to Charlene and Randolph Phineas and gives them a polite nod. And Kamara, he turns to you and reaches out and kind of gives you a hug across your shoulders. And he whispers something to you. And then he turns back to Zane and gestures for you to exit the room and head down to his office.
And I exit.
Okay, so he leads you into his office, sits down behind the very familiar desk. He gestures for you to shut the door behind you.
And I shut.
Why exactly haven't you told them?
I've told Kamara. Charlene, I'm not sure I fully trust her yet. I thought I could, and then I was going to, but she made me doubt. And, well, Randolph Phineas is so new. I barely know him. He has connections at the very least with the class through Vera. So it gives me pause. I'll find out on our journey.
I know Vera pretty well. She's never mentioned him.
I'm sure she hasn't mentioned a lot of things. To both of us.
True.
Very secretive woman. Don't trust her as much as I can throw her.
You might want to reconsider that.
When she gives me her word, I trust her. But not when she tells me things off the cuff.
What I'll tell you about Vera is that while she certainly has her own motives, the reason that she and I are able to get along is that we both have the best interest of the city in mind.
And that is precisely why I wanted to ally myself with both of you. So I mean that leads us right into it. My goals for while I'm gone, and your goals for while I'm gone. So personally, I would like to see long term Vera running the class, and you either, and I don't know. I don't know if you had thought about it fully yet. I remember you said you were, but it had only been a few hours. Whether you will take over where Dugent had taken from your family, or at the very least, remove him from his seat of power, tarnish his reputation, and make sure that he doesn't ever hurt anybody ever again.
It's not the nature of the Arkheart to seek revenge. If it was, he would be in the ground. He would have been in the ground a long time ago.
Well, then maybe let's not call it revenge. Justice.
He nods his head. I like that word. My plans while you're gone? I'm going to work on establishing the council. If you have any input on who you would like to be a part of it, let me know now. My thought was to bring in 1 or 2 people from each, how should we say, each aspect of our society. Some commoners, some noblemen, the Merchants Guild, even the clasp.
I agree. I think that it's important that the common people have a voice or a seat at the table. It should be someone who is a leader in the community, who understands their struggles, and who isn't afraid to speak their mind. I think it's a good idea to have someone from the clasp. But we definitely need rules and regulations to keep things in check. We don't want things falling apart. These people need to be professionals, and with the best interests of the city at heart.
He sits back in his chair, kind of crosses his legs, and he throws his arms back behind his head, like he's thinking what you're saying. Put a lot of thought into this. Don't worry, I think I've covered most aspects. And we're lucky. We're very, very lucky. We have just about the biggest trump card that's ever been issued.
And what is that?
We're talking about creating a council to support the city, to judge people, to make decisions and enforce laws. Think about it. Think about it, Zane. Who's fallen into our lap? There's no one with more experience.
Out of character, I'm not quite sure who he's talking about. There's so many people.
He's talking about Lysander.
Okay. You mean Lysander?
Millennium judging the gods. Taking care of one city can't be that hard in comparison.
Have you spoken with him about it?
Not yet.
If he were in a healthier state of mind, then absolutely, I would agree. I don't know. There are a lot of religions that the people worship in this city. Would it seem like we're turning this into a theocracy?
He shakes his head. You realize that Lysander is not a god.
Yes, but do we plan on telling the people the truth of what he is?
I don't see a need.
I see. Well, then, if we were to keep that a secret, I don't see why not.
I'm not saying I'm going to hand him the burden of this, Zane. I'm saying that if we need counsel, we have.
Absolutely. Not giving him a position.
Correct.
Very good, then. So, how do you plan on setting up the new council? I'm sure the two, sure Laura would be perfectly fine, but I'm sure the two that are already in there might have something to say about that.
I think the best way to start is to make it small, to act as if we're a charity group and just helping out the people. And then as more and more people hear about the deeds that we do, more and more people will come to us as opposed to the Council of Tal'dorei. Up there in their high seats, they don't understand the common people, but we will. Between the friends that we've gathered and the capability of your party, I think that we can do a lot of good. I'm already well known for my charity. I plan on bringing in Vera, Jacob, and I have a few others in mind.
And who are these people?
He looks a little bit uncomfortable. Well, Mina, for one. If you don't have any qualms about that.
I would only have a qualm if she did.
We'll see. She's smart. Very, very, very smart. But she hasn't been playing the game.
So if she accepts, she'd just need to be trained in how to play the game. Just like I was.
He raises his eyebrow at you. Oh, Zane. You are not prepared.
I've gotten this far. I mean, I've been shot a few times.
No. What I'm saying is you're not prepared for Mina.
For me to play the game?
If
Or for
you
me to
think
be
that
trained?
if you think that she's a stranger to politics, you're wrong. She's just chosen to be here, and let go of her burdens, if you
I know
lack of a better word.
I know that she's been. I know where she's been.
Do you?
Yes, I know who she is. I don't think that she knows the politics of Amon as well as she would know the politics of, and I just, out of character.
Singorn.
Singorn. I was about to say that. The politics of Singorn.
True, but don't underestimate her. He stands up. I'll get to work on this. I won't be able to have it ready for you tomorrow, or possibly by the time you leave, which is when?
We haven't yet discussed that yet, but it'll be as soon as possible.
I'll work on a writ and a charter, and I'll let you look it over. But I ask you to trust me that I've had this in my head for a really long time, and I've looked at it from every angle. I think I've got it covered. And when you come back, we'll place it in your name.
I trust you, Val. Oh, one person that might be good is someone who's already on the council, Allura. She's the only one that I would trust in a position like that.
I'll think on it, but it might be difficult to approach her once she realizes our intent.
Then it might be after it has already started.
He gives you a nod. Is there anything else? I have some plans tonight.
Yes. How do you see decisions being made and the power structure of this council?
I'd like to think of it as a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think that we would have enough people with open minds willing to debate issues without bringing in emotion.
Say that one more time. I accidentally hit that.
I'd like to think that we'd have enough people with open minds and the ability to debate without emotions.
That would have to be a part of the writ. Anybody a part of the council would have to be informed of this.
However, I would plan on having you or myself, maybe Mina, at the head of it. We'll see how it goes. Let me work on it, Zane.
Okay. I will. But I am curious about how that head would that person have the ability to say no to a judgment?
I think it's more that person would have the ability to choose the topics that were most important.
This person would be a figurehead.
Exactly.
The face of the council.
He nods.
Well, whoever it ends up being, it would be a great weight on that person's shoulder.
That's why I said we're putting it in your name, he says with a grin.
Yes. I was about to say I would accept it gladly. All right. Well, I think we've discussed this enough. If you have any questions before we leave, you know where to find me. Or you know how to find me.
I do. And don't forget to talk to this minxie woman.
Out of character, I'm forgetting what that was for.
Bud.
That's right. Absolutely. I'll make sure to ask her if she's willing.
He walks back out of the office and back into the room where Charlene, Kamara, and Randolph Phineas are sitting. Kamara is kind of looking over Randolph Phineas' shoulder at some notes that he's writing on a piece of paper. And Vale walks up to the stained glass window, or the stained glass doors on the balcony, opens them up, and walks out onto the balcony. And he's looking like he's looking across the beach, and then he comes back. His face is not happy. You can tell that something's bothering him. But he looks at the group of you and says, I have a feeling your friend isn't coming back tonight.
Does that trouble you?
Kamara, moving on. He looks at everybody but Kamara and says, I suggest you all get a good night's sleep. It sounds like you have a lot to do in the morning.
Quite.
He looks at you again, Randolph Phineas, and his eyes narrow a little bit. Are you sure I saw you here?
I am dating one of your servants, Ruth. You've probably seen me in the kitchen from time to time.
I'm going to have a little talk with Ruth.
Oh, I hope I do not get her in trouble. She is so sweet. Please, I will not come back. I will see her off your property.
I think that would be wise. Have a good night, ladies, gentlemen.
Vale. And then I'm going to open the door and help, keep the door open for everyone.
My lord. Randolph Phineas gets up, and as he walks out, he'll look at Charlene and say, if she's leaving with him. If not, then he'll wait. But he'll eventually ask her, my lady, if you mind me asking, what do your people eat? And he'll start making notes if she'll tell him.
Hi, Josh. Welcome back. So, just to catch you up real quick, you basically haven't gone very far. After Vale went off with Aramel and Lysander, there was a little bit of chit-chat, and then Vale came back very quickly afterwards. Zane pulled Vale aside into his office, and they had a private conversation. And you and Charlene and Randolph Phineas were just kind of sitting there waiting while Randolph Phineas was making like a list of supplies that you guys might need. And Kamara was pressing him a little bit about what he had seen when Lysander was looking at him. And that's it. And now you guys are about to leave. Vale is very eagerly gesturing at the door for you guys to go. Okay, so still chatting about the preferred diets of merfolks. The three of you exit the Vale Aaron's estate. The Vale Aaron's estate. Vale Aaron's estate. Oh my goodness. Bad fireball. Bad fireball. Where are you guys headed?
Well, Randolph Phineas will make an excuse, he needs some preparations to make, and he will head off into the night to...
I saw your whisper. I got you.
Cool.
Zane and Charlene.
Zane would like to. How late is it?
10, I think. 11. You met the council at 9, so maybe more like 11, 11:30 at this point.
11:30. Okay. Well then, I'm going to head back to the Laughing Llama. I am going to be looking for Marcus. I'd like to speak with him.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Kamara, after the group of them exits, Vale closes the door behind him and he turns around and looks at you. Really, you're going to press me about that right now? I thought we had an understanding. I didn't say anything to you when you came here the other night smelling like another man.
You look troubled. I was just asking about it. I mean, if you're going to love other people, you shouldn't look troubled doing it.
The problem is, Kamara, that it's unrequited. And it's not a pleasant thing to deal with.
Well, then, stop.
Do you actually laugh?
No, Josh made me laugh.
You're kidding, right?
Of course I'm kidding. You can't stop that. It's natural. But if you look troubled more often, you're gonna make me a little jealous, and I don't like that feeling. So just stop looking troubled, or at least talk to me about it. Be open if we're gonna be open.
Oh. It's going to make you jealous? He puts on a very mopey expression and throws his hand over his heart. I don't know if I'll survive this, Kamara. Woe is me.
I mean, you do feel that all the time, so it's not really that hard of a emotion for you to understand.
I do tend to be a little jealous. Just a little bit. And it's not my intent to make you feel that way. I'm sorry.
I know. Just be open with me, dude. Oh, so I'm never saying that again.
All I have to say on this subject is if you want my attention, you have it, Kamara.
Good, because I really like attention.
He glances at the window, glances at the door. I really do need to talk to you about Kostiyama. But I'm not sure how soon Lysander is going to be back. So he walks over and locks the door. Want to take advantage of the time?
Of course. Let's do this.
Okay, and we are fading to black. I'll send you a whisper in a little bit, Kamara, with some very straightforward details. Nothing detailed. No detailed details, but you know.
I'm getting an erotic novel.
I mean, I do have the weekends off. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so in Marcus, Zane and Marcus. Okay, so you make your way back to the llama. Actually, you know what? Just real quick, we're gonna kind of time skip. So Kamara, after you guys enjoy your time together, he excuses himself and goes to his office. And when he returns, he has some paperwork in his hands. And he
really.
spends a little time. He spends a little time editing it. Don't really have the appropriate document for this sort of situation. But I'm going to be blunt. If you're going to leave Castellamo with me, I need to know that if something happens to you, I have the ability to make sure her life goes the right direction. And
Okay.
he hands over the paperwork before you can really look at it. He says, I understand her father is dead.
Yes.
And then you glance down at the paperwork and you realize that what he's given you is a certificate of adoption. And as you look it over, you realize that what he is asking of you is to allow him to adopt Castellamo and make her his heir. I'm assuming at some point you look up at him and he looks very nervous. And you can also tell that while he's made a couple little edits here and there, this is something that he's been working on for a little bit.
You can't take her from me.
Randolph Phineas, Castellama is Kamar's daughter. She's 1 year old. She's half tiefling, half human.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. That's why.
No, it's okay. I was going to type it, but I realized it would take a lot longer for me to type it than to say it. He immediately shakes his head and holds up his hands in defense. No. That's not what I'm doing. And then he sighs and kind of rubs his head. Really not good at being tactful, am I?
And I like that, but is this only if I die?
No.
Oh.
Shouldn't have to grow up without a father.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
have an heir. I'm offering. I don't have a lot, Kamara. This isn't binding you to me. This isn't. It's up to you.
I'm not used to the adoption process. I don't know what happens with the biological mother, the mother, and I just don't understand it completely. I know what you're saying, and I really love it, but I don't understand my place.
Your place would be to be her mother. That nothing is going to change that. I would never take her away from you. Look at me. And he takes your chin and turns your face to him. You know that I can't lie. She would stay with you. You would raise her. You would make the decisions on her upbringing. What I'm offering her is a place to be if something should happen to you. No offense, Kamara, but you don't lead the most stable of lives.
Yeah, no offense taken.
Even if
That's
you
true.
remain in her life, she'll be a lady. She'll have opportunities that, no offense, you may never be able to offer her. She won't have a fortune, but she'll have this. And he waves at the estate around him. You don't have to make a decision tonight. Take it to a lawyer, think about it, talk with your friends. I care about you and I care about her.
If you get married when I'm gone, that's an issue for me. If you have to write it so if you choose someone else, she doesn't become her mother.
Kamara would never do that. But
Ye-
sure, have it
yeah.
put in. Have it put in. Whatever you. All this is giving her is my name.
It's just my selfish thing. Everything you're saying about that is fine. If I'm dead, this is great. It's just me thinking about where I am to her lawfully. So I'm sorry, I just went from losing her to having her to this, and it's a lot. And yeah.
His eyes kind of narrow, and you get the sense that he's starting to realize that maybe there's a little more to this story than he knows. But he doesn't bring it up. He just steps forward and wraps his arms around you and pulls you close. This was not meant to upset you, I promise. Just take it, leave it, do what you want with it, change it. In the end, I'm here for you and I'm here for her.
I'm glad. It's good to know.
He gives you a kiss on the forehead, and it's not too long to sunrise. We should probably... He glances over at the bed, which is like a rumpled mess. Yeah, you should probably go home now.
I can clean it when I do prestidigitation and clean it up.
That's a nice trick. I won't ask how many times you've done that.
The first time, actually.
Are you lying?
No.
Are you sure?
No, like, I have never used it to unsoil bed sheets.
Okay.
Well, you know what I mean. To clean bed sheets. It wasn't soiled. That's weird.
It's the first time for everything.
Love that spell.
He steps back and gives you a bow and opens the door, and he walks you out. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Nope. If you need something, grab it. Just go with it. Go ahead. Okay.
What?
I realized how bad that sounded. I am so sorry. What I mean is, if you need some role play, just go for it. Even if I've said that you walked down the stairs already, just backtrack. Just do what you need to do.
I grab it, and then
Happy Valentine's Day, Vale.
I'll leave this over and go see Minxie, and it'll be okay. Castellano will be here soon. I'll be back, and it is Valentine's Day, so I want to do this again. And then I walk out.
Okay. I think my brain was in another place, and I missed part of that. Summarize for me what you just did.
I'm gonna go see Minxie. Castellano will be here soon. I want to have sex again.
Oh, okay. So you're
Basic.
going back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Home goes the dynamite.
Okay. So that happens. However, he does pull you off to another room. Okay, and then we're fast forwarding to morning. Except I do need Randolph Phineas.
I'll show
Do
up
you
with
wanna
the
send me-
laughing llama.
Okay, do you want to just tell me out of character after the game exactly what you did, or is it anything?
I just seeked comfort. That's basically what I did.
Okay, so it's just what you whispered me, nothing
Yeah,
more.
nothing more.
Okay. So everyone except for Kamara has a really good night's sleep. Actually, Aramel probably doesn't either, but Aramel doesn't sleep. So come morning, Aramil, Lysander, as the sun starts to rise, the time you guys have had together is kind of coming to an end, which he's not happy about. I'm not sure how Aramil is feeling, but eventually he does have to excuse himself and go back into the estate.
Aramil will, when it is just like before the sun gets up, when it's still I guess the proper word is like the time before dawn, when it's still dark but just starting to get lighter, right? Or is it
Okay.
before then that he'd have to leave?
No, mm-mm.
Yeah, Aramil will sort of very gently shake Lysander and make sure that he's not dozing off or resting.
He sits up. He's still kind of covered in sand from where he was laying on his back earlier.
Well, considering what time it is, should probably get back inside. This was an amazing evening, though. I'm still a little surprised that your hair's so soft.
You're actually rewarded with a blush, which is something that you didn't even know he was able to do.
Aramil sort of just states it matter-of-factly, and when Lysander blushes, Aramil like goes a little wide-eyed and can't help but have a small smile.
I need you to promise me something other than my requests.
Sure. What can I promise you?
I don't know where your journey is going to take you, or how far it's going to take you, or how long it'll be before you're out of my range. But until then, check in with me at least once a day.
Aramil nods. As long as you want it, I can check in with you. If we're making requests, they start walking. It's still dark, but it's just generally being like complete darkness to things starting to stir. I have a request for you as well.
That's only fair. Oops, wrong music. Okay, we're not going to go to the beach then.
This is a little scary.
What is your request? Hang on. Okay. Go ahead.
Aramil looks to Lysander. You'll be in Vale Aaron's care when we're gone, and as you have been for a while already. But everyone can have a lasp of their strength of spirit. I want you to be as understanding and patient with Vales as you can be, so that we can make it to that time that we promised.
Christy. Okay, we are just going back. Hang on.
Is your delete push to talk?
No, it's... I just have a really, really bad habit of hitting my backspace button. I don't know, it's like a nervous habit. Apologies. He looks confused and he says, "Is there something that I'm missing? I don't understand."
I know that Vale's intentions are good, but he is also romantically interested in you.
His eyebrows go up, and you can tell that he was completely unaware of this. And you're worried about that?
Mostly not, but sometimes those feelings can cause your heart to falter and weaken your spirit as often as they can give it strength and boost it. So, just make sure he's alright. And of course, take care of yourself. He smiles at Lysander as they get to the door.
He still looks a little bit lost in thought. And you can kind of recognize this from yourself and your shock at learning everything that you've learned recently. You can tell that it's weighing really heavily on him, that he had no clue about this and he has no idea how to handle it. But he nods in agreement.
Well, don't be too concerned. He definitely has your interest at heart and wants to make sure that you're healthy and able to do what you would like.
And you know that you have nothing to worry about, right, Aramil?
Aramil nods. Of course.
He's sort of looking over your shoulder again. You can kind of see the oranges reflected in his eyes as the sun starts to come up over the horizon. And he steps back into the shelter of the awning over the back of the estate.
Aramil's going to hold out his arms and offer one last embrace as he steps into the shadow.
He returns it and whispers in your ear, "Remember every day." And then he turns and goes into the estate. Okay.
Wait,
Go ahead. Are you stopping him?
As he goes in, he's just going to say, your Amasur won't keep you waiting. Hoping that his context clues have led him to the right conclusion. Otherwise, it'll be hilarious.
Oh my god. You had to throw that at me right now.
Yep.
So he's in the process of opening the door when you say that. And he freezes, like his entire body goes stiff. And then he turns around and looks at you, and you can see the confusion on his face. And shock. Explain. Aramil, how do you know that word? How do you know it?
It recently came to me in almost like a fever dream. I wasn't asleep, but I was enduring some harsh elements, and I heard that voice as I was meditating, going into a trance. I think it was a long time ago, but I remember you saying it to me.
he goes paler than his usual pale. Aramil, I've only said that to you once, and it was when you were dead. There's no way you could have heard that, Aramil.
Aramilla looks at Lysander and says, well, it's something that came up subconsciously. When I was struggling, it came up as a way of sorting out how I felt. How it happened, I'm not sure.
His eyes are still filled with an emotion you can't recognize. He takes a couple steps forward, but he's kind of stopped by the sunbeams that are starting to shine on down onto the ground in the courtyard. I need you to think back on this, on every moment of it, and tell me exactly what happened. Do your best to remember everything. And when we talk next, I'll explain. But this may be an important clue.
Aramil nods. Alright, I will do my best to recount exactly what happened with this. And, of course, expect me to contact you again soon. Aramil waves since he's in sunlight now and sets off.
And then you hear him say one more thing in your mind, which I will whisper to you before he turns and goes into the estate. Are you going back to the llama?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have the whole party in one place for the first time ever.
The whole party was just all in one place.
Kind of.
Are we going to be skipping back to last?
Yes, you do need to talk with Marcus. Let's try to keep it on the quick side.
Keep it on the quick for that.
By the way, are you prepared to sing the song tonight?
Absolutely.
Oh, my heart is broken.
Oh,
Did you listen to it, Casey? You went back and listened to the recording?
No. Yes. Kind of. Halfway.
Did you get to
I'm
the part?
narrowing my eyes at you.
Did you get to the part where it's obvious?
No. I will. Sing it well, okay?
We should just tell her at what point it is so she can just jump to it.
Yeah, please.
Okay, take it away, Zane.
So I'm walking into the Laughing Llama. Do I run into Minxie first or Marcus? Because I got to talk to both of them.
Marcus is in the corner still entertaining, so you can go up to him, but it would probably be easier to talk to Minxie first.
Okay, so I'll talk to Minxie first, and that can just be that doesn't need to be role played. That's just well, it probably should, but it's me talking to her about what we just talked. Asking her if she'd be willing. Would you like to roleplay that, or
we can not roleplay it. What I will say is she's very surprised. I mean, she knew what he was, and you all know that Minxie has just adored him from day one when he saved her life. she looks a little nervous, but then you relate to her what Vale said about it not being unpleasant. And then she starts to look a little curious.
And also that it wouldn't have to be all the time. Just what was it? Once a week?
Yeah, and she actually makes the suggestion to you that if you guys need someone else in on this, that Stefan might be a good idea. He already knows everything there is to know.
And I would say back to her that that if she trusts him, then that'd be something to discuss with
She agrees, and she says that she'll make contact with him.
Excellent. So after I speak with Minxie, I'm going to wait for a lull in his performance and ask if we can discuss business.
He kind of strums his lute a few times and waves at everyone. Holds out a hat for them to drop coins in, which, there's not a ton in there, but it's decent. And then he says, if you'll excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'll do another performance shortly. And he walks over with you to a corner booth.
So did you have the chance to think about my proposition?
Kamara, if you'd like to talk with her after this, absolutely. If there is ever a point at which I say that we can skip roleplay and you want to roleplay, so just grab me right there and say it out loud.
He talked to her when I wasn't there.
That's true. About. That's true.
Anyway,
okay.
keep going.
Okay.
Well, you were boning.
I know.
Doing what needs to be done.
Sorry, what did you say to Marcus?
Have you thought about my proposition since last week?
I have, but you need to tell me exactly what it is that you want from me. You want me to just spread rumors? You want me to spread gossip?
Well, I was about to tell you before you insisted that I not. Here's the details. Out of character, did I speak to him about Dugent? Did I mention Dugent the last time we spoke? Do you remember?
I believe you did.
All right.
I think you told him that there was someone who was trying to kill you. I think that's what happened.
Yes. So I'll just assume that I've mentioned his name before. So my goal is to destroy everything this man holds dear. Your job, if you're willing to accept it, is to destroy his marriage. Remove his wife and his daughter from the equation, so that when everything that is propping him up collapses, they won't be damaged. They won't be hurt. They'll be out of the way. And they'll also hurt him.
He chuckles a little bit. So what you're saying is you're asking the bard to seduce a woman?
He smiles and goes, yes. You've already have a bit of experience, no offense, with wooing noble women.
Is she a looker?
Out of character, is she a looker?
I think you've only seen her once the night of the fire. She's not bad.
She's a little out of character. Is she older than him? Of course she's older than him.
Yeah, probably 10 years.
She's very beautiful. She's a little older than you. Maybe 10 years.
Oh, well, that just makes it easier. Sure, Lord Blackthorn. You want to pay me to seduce women? I'll let you pay me to seduce women.
I knew you wouldn't. Turn this down.
I'd be
I
a
can count
fool.
on you to. I can count on you. I will be expecting to count on you to. Oh, over the. Out of character, have we mentioned to him yet that we're leaving?
No.
Okay, I'll mention it then. My party and I will be gone for several months on a quest, and I will be relying on you to spend the months between now and when I get back destroying their marriage, seducing his wife. I need you to be subtle. I need you to be slow. And I need you to be as discreet as possible. Dugent cannot find out until after she has signed the divorce papers. Until after she's left him.
There's just one little problem. I don't doubt my charm, but I'm gonna need some money.
Name your price. Let's negotiate.
I've already agreed to work for you. The money that I'm talking about is the money that it's gonna cost me to do this. Flowers, perfumes, all the things that the noble women want. 500 gold pieces?
That's fairly steep. Is it worth? Is perfume and flowers worth that much, or are you thinking of more expensive ways of wooing her? She's a noble. It makes sense.
He kind of furrows his eyebrows at you. You've apparently never wooed a noble woman, and if you have, you haven't done it very well. And as a side note, you remember just this flash of conversation that you had with Mina when you guys were, I think it was when you were standing in the courtyard after she met Maximus for the first time. And she said something along the lines of, "You don't get off easy, you're going to have to court me." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you
That was
might be
after.
having a little bit of a realization that, oops.
No, that was after she kissed me and walked away. She was like, "Yeah, you're gonna
have to work for this, my friend."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that little tidbit comes to your mind.
He's gonna say, "Oh, well, I'm in the process of wooing one, and well, okay. I can have my estate transfer the gold to you. Where would you like to send?"
He looks around. I'm pretty comfortable here.
Good. Well, then I'll make sure that it is sent to your room. Minxie is very trustworthy.
Seems that way. And he like waves her over to get a meal and starts eating.
Well, that covers what you'll need to woo her. As far as pay goes, I will provide you some pay now, and then over the course of my months away, I would like updates.
Okay. I'll leave him here with Minx. And anytime you contact her to let her know where you are, I'll have them sent.
Now, out of character, if I remember correctly, there are those birds that
Yes.
were those birds magical? Were they like homing birds, like you say where who you want it to go to, and they find that person, or was that like a?
So the thing about them is that's a little tricky is when the person who hires them can always get the return message. But the place that they're going is a location, not a person. So you can hire the bird to go to like Singorn or to go to Craghammer, but you can't like magically send the bird to one particular person. Like you sent the bird to Blackthorn Castle where the bird was retrieved and the message was brought to Elbrith. But you don't necessarily know, of course, that if you send the bird to a big city that the note is going to fall into the right hands.
Okay. What if we knew how like the okay. So kind of like how they did, probably how they, I don't know if they did this in medieval times, but they would map out where they were going and how long it was going to take, and then they would have their people send messages ahead of them when they got there.
And I will absolutely allow you to do that once you guys figure out where you're going and everything,
Exactly.
which you guys haven't covered in character.
Exactly.
Roll me an intelligence check, though. I'm going to make this a DC 12. Something might occur to you. No, nothing occurs to you. Okay.
Excellent. Well, so I'll say to him, well, we'll be mapping out our path here soon. I will provide you with specific locations that you will be able to send your updates to, and when we will reach those locations, and you can provide those updates to those locations at those times. Does that make sense?
He nods.
And then I will send back gold as payment with the return message.
Very well.
All right. So, out of character, what would be a good salary for this? I can't I don't understand how the economy works in this.
So a skilled worker costs about 2 gold pieces a day.
Okay.
So it would be up to your determination as to whether or not you'd consider him skilled, considering he's gone to the Bardic College. I would say yes.
How many days are in a month?
I think it's a little different in the Tal'dorei world, but we're just going to go with 30 for the sake of the DM's mind not exploding with unneeded knowledge.
Okay, so that's about like 660 per month. Okay. So I will provide him with well, I will say, and your pay shall be 60 gold per month, which I shall provide to you when I receive an update, and you shall receive your first pay for the first month right now.
He grins and holds out his.
And I will place a bag with 60 gold in his.
Okay. Unless there's anything else, we're going to fast forward again then.
That sounds like about the end of it.
Awesome. Okay. So those of you that are sleeping, get a good night's sleep. You can mark off a long rest. Kamara, not so much. Aramel, did you meditate on the beach or not? I will leave that up to you.
I would say yes.
Okay.
They were there for a while. You may have tranced out without realizing it.
Yeah, and he's not much of a conversationalist at this point, so I would assume a lot of it was just spent,
Unless you're insinuating that they did something else on the beach instead
No,
of resting.
no, I'm not. I'm not. No, I picture it pretty much as just some happy cuddles and the morning farewell. Okay, so morning arrives. Aramil, you return to the llama. The rest of you are rubbing your eyes, waking up, coming downstairs. Kamara, are you coming back as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just a couple seconds after Aramil walks in that Kamara walks in. You probably saw him on the road up ahead. It is a bright, sunny, very warm morning, probably in the low 90s already. And you guys have a lot of planning to do.
Aramil looks around to everyone in the hall of the llama main area and smiles and greets them. Good morning. And looks to see if there's any food that they're eating.
Slight retcon, real quick. I would have spent some time with Marcus, showing him the contacts, the list of contacts, and whatever secrets Mary placed in the book, and kind of help him develop a plan or whatever, and then.
Smart. Okay, so that's going to give him some advantage. I'm going to say that he spends part of the evening making a copy of that, if you allow him to.
Yes.
Okay. So Aramil, yes, you walk in. There is food already being served. It's like hot banana bread with melted butter on it. There's orange juice and all kinds of different foods already laid out. The whole place smells wonderful, but this is Minxie, so you've expected. I would like both Aramil and Kamara to describe their appearance as they enter the lobby.
Looks super tired. Like, you can tell I kind of just woke up. Hair's a little disheveled for Kamara. And I just go straight up to Castiella.
Okay, and actually pause, Aramil, before that happens. Randolph and Is, you arrive back as well. And I would ask the same question of you.
He is the picture of high class servant. He is on point. He looks good. He's ready to go. He looks real rested. Has coffee.
Okay, Aramil?
Excuse me. Aramil looks. He doesn't normally look very clean, so it's not that odd to see him looking disheveled. But as he walks, like small flecks of sand that are caught in his cloth pants just occasionally fall from him and make a sound, very quiet sound. He Yesterday he was slightly panicked, but he's back to his very calm, collected self. He seems very relaxed. And the smile that he gave everyone looks almost genuine instead of forced. Almost feels like it's warm instead of copying or calculated. And he instantly goes and grabs some food and starts eating on it, looking around at everyone.
Okay. Zane and Charlene, you've come down. This is what you've seen. Minxie runs up to you, Charlene, and hands you a note. And I'll let you guys role play out your morning. Just let me know what you would like to do to prepare.
Good morning, everyone.
I'm whispering you.
It is a good day outside. A good day to enjoy the weather, to sit to sit up straight, back facing a tree, getting in touch with your roots, you know?
Good morning, Master Ermel. Lord Zane.
Good morning, Renofinius.
Oh,
You had breakfast yet?
No, I'm about to.
I will go back and see what the kitchen has to offer this morning. And he walks away towards to get some food for the party. Brought out to the party.
Zane's gonna sit down with everybody else and goes, well, I'm just we need to discuss when we plan on leaving, and so that we know how much time we have to prepare, and then we need to map out where we're going.
these quakes could happen at any time, right? Aramil breathes down some orange juice and tears off more bread that's on the table, looking around at everyone.
We certainly could.
Did you touch the razor?
Kamara, do you need some coffee? You seem like you haven't slept at all.
At that point, I walk up with coffee.
Excuse me. Did you talk to Minxie last night?
Let me pause real quick. Kamara, Randolph Phineas hands you a cup of coffee, and you don't know how, but it is made exactly the way you like it.
It goes for everybody.
You should make another one.
He keeps pouring the coffee. Looks at Kamara askance and goes back to retrieve the food.
So I believe you asked Zane if he had spoken to Minxie.
Yep.
I have. And she accepted it. She's kind of curious about how it'll go, and she also thinks that Stefan might be trusted with this as well.
Aramil nods. It makes sense,
Good.
considering that he knows the secret. Isn't that right, Kamara?
Yes, that is. I drank the coffee. I just gobble it down. So I guess we got that settled. What's our plan exactly? What are we supposed to be doing again?
Well, that's
Oh,
what we're
right.
thinking. I think we should leave by tomorrow morning, but we may need more time. But I think this is very pressing. We need to
Rand
leave as
walks
soon
up
as
with
possible.
breakfast.
What was the question? I have a few errands that I must run, and we definitely need to gather provisions. We don't know how long it's going to take us to complete this mission, and we should certainly pack for long enough to at the very least reach. We're out of character.
Nocturne.
Nocturne. At the very least to reach Nocturne. Rand, how far is Nocturne from here? How many days?
God.
Okay, so give me a second to find the map.
Do we go over the map in character? He has one prepared and just pulls it out.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
And it is
always
impeccably clean.
Like That is literally in my character sheet that I am always prepared.
Okay, hang on. Are you guys seeing this?
Yep.
Okay, you're gonna have to click on it to enlarge it. But you guys, you can't see it?
I was just gonna say that it enlarges, but it is fairly. It's still kind of small, but I think I can navigate it. Ooh, that's a great secret. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Size matters.
It's the girth.
Okay, so if you guys look at this map, you see where Amon is over on the left middle hand of the continent.
Yep.
Okay. If you follow the continent all the way out to the right, you hit like a mountain range that's above Stillben. And then if you go straight down from Stillben, there's like this little offshoot. It's forested area, and it kind of looks like, I don't know, a shoe or a boot or a finger sticking out from the side of the continent.
Yeah, it's like a peninsula.
Yeah. He tells you that that is the location of Nocturne.
The tip
You
of
realize that this is pretty much as far away as you can get on the continent.
Yes, we must calculate it in travel costs, supplies. We will need to hunt along the way. So much to prepare.
Yes.
Yes.
So much to prepare. We have horses for travel. We have our camping supplies since we have ventured, and I believe that I can find a source of food in the wilderness as long as we remain in like a place that can grow plants. I think we should be alright. In terms of preparations, we should say our goodbyes and tie up loose ends, but once we have our equipment, I think we'll be ready to go. I could see myself being ready in just a couple hours.
Yeah, he might have to reload. I'm sorry, Pasta. I don't think you can hear Josh.
I can't at all.
Yeah.
Oh, has he been? Oh no.
Yeah, you were talking right over it. He's in the middle of a sentence.
Well, I am very sorry, Josh. You're gonna not be in this recording. Let me re-enter the call.
Just admitting you.
Sorry,
That's what you get for having a great Valentine's date and leaving us all in the dust.
I actually, Josh is just muted on my Discord. Like the icon says he's muted. I thought he just couldn't speak.
I don't think he can, though.
Josh, this is the perfect time to make fun of Pasta if you have ever wanted to.
Alright, full
So
reset.
how are we going to fix this?
I'm gonna restart Discord. I will be back in a minute.
Okay.
we go to
Yeah.
Kamal, we can still get to Stillbend, and it wouldn't be that much out of the way.
So would we do like a 3-day detour?
Alright, it's fixed. Sorry about that. That was actually completely my fault.
That's okay. Just for the sake of the recording, which I assume it's still running.
Yes.
Okay, he asked a question about the location of the Quaddle Cat. If you remember the Quaddle Cat kittens where they were abducted. And my answer was that they're about 2 days north of Amon towards Craghammer.
Yes, and let me take a moment to sincerely apologize. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you or not listen to what you had to say. You were just muted on my Discord, and I saw it as you muting your own Discord because you couldn't speak.
You were just filling the empty silence while we were all actually listening to Josh. That's so funny.
And then, after you cut me off, I was like, okay, you just didn't notice. And then you started talking about, like, the food situation, and then I specifically answered you, and then you kept on talking.
He was like, we don't need to worry about that. I have good berries.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I can forage and I can do this.
Technical difficulties.
No, I'm really glad that someone picked up on it because I was just a little confused.
It's all
Okay.
I was straight up.
Never.
I was straight up like, is something just covering my mic? Am I too quiet for Pasta to hear me?
Okay, so you are now aware of the location of the city of Nocturne.
Okay. So, how how is Rand explained?
So he tells you that the journey, if you cross land, is going to easily take a couple months. It depends on if you do it on foot or on horseback or with a caravan. He suggests to you that traveling that long of a distance on foot is very wearying and that you might want to seek out some kind of trade route or caravan to go along with if you're gonna go that direction. There is also the option of going by sea. The problem is that going by sea, you're pretty much having to sail around the continent. You save a little bit of time, but not a lot, and you're going to be on a boat for that entire time.
Well, it would seem like traveling to Steelbend and then taking a boat to where we need to go would be the best.
Out of character real quick, Christy. The particular tradesman that I know that travels back and forth from Nocturne. How are we going to say he travels?
We are going to say that he has enough of a trade route established that you could basically, with a little incentive, convince him to alter his route in any direction you want, as long as you're hitting some major cities along the way.
Okay. I will bring this up to the party as well.
Kamara, I would like you to roll an intelligence check for me, DC of 13.
Nope.
Okay.
So we could take this gentleman's travel with this gentleman through his trade route, and where would that lead us? Where would it lead us?
Most likely he would like to hit some of the major points of interest on the way, doing some trade, but I imagine with the right compensation, we would be able to travel with him. It would be, protected, a known route to and from, and through my connection, I might be able to arrange him to maybe focus on a more streamlined journey to Nocturne. Maybe if we can make up some of the loss that he would make on his journey normally.
Would we have to travel through this mountain path? And he points at the large mountain path in the middle of the.
Is that the only entrance to the Underdark that could lead to Nocturne? Is there a path underground?
There are other entrances to the Underdark, but you do not have any experience with them.
Okay.
And
This is the one that he goes
you
to.
know from what you do know that it was probably the most dangerous route you could.
Right. Yeah, no, I gotcha. Yeah, I imagine we will. Is this a problem, my lord?
No, but I do see that that there's the possibility of traveling to Stillbend and then taking a ship to Nocturne. Would that lengthen our journey, or
We could break away from the caravan at the closest point to Stillben and could consign a ship here. We would have to send word ahead so it was prepared and ready to go as soon as we arrived.
There's also the possibility that if they'd want to just sail around, I might be able to secure us.
It's a long time on a boat.
It is, but it's slightly less time than it would be on land.
are we certain it could be faster? We would have to go all the way around the continent instead of going through it.
Quickest distance between 2 points is straight line, yes? Or zigzaggy straight line.
What if we take our horses there instead of going on a trade route, which isn't direct, or sailing? Well, it's a good suggestion for this travel. It would take a long time.
We will bring your horses into the Underdark. Because once we reach this point here, and he points to, again, near the area where the entrance is that he's referring to, that does not mean we will be at Nocturne. We still have some distance to travel underground. And it is quite a perilous journey.
How large are the caverns underground? I must admit, I don't know anything about the Underdark.
The population of Nocturne is quite large. The caverns, they stretch. They're extremely large in some places. They go for miles. You can get lost very easily if you are in the unmapped areas.
So it's possible to travel with our steeds in.
Some places, yes.
We could talk to Laura about teleportation. The Lyceum has some circles. There's probably one close to Stillben, I imagine. There are some major cities around there.
That would certainly save our trip by several months, or at least a month.
Yes.
Excellent idea. Let's look into that.
I have some of those sometimes. You can also talk to your girlfriend about it.
If you'd like to look into it, I trust you with it.
Okay, what are you guys doing now?
So if we teleport to just outside of Stillben and then take a ship south, be fairly quick.
Follow the party's lead because I'm the guide. So once we arrange travel, then I'll get into action, getting supplies and stuff ready for whichever journey we take, because it'll vary. If we teleport, then we won't need as many supplies. We can pick up stuff in Stillben.
Since we're going to save so much time, do we think that we want to try and do the Quado Cat and then get teleported there?
I think we should see where the circle is and then consider that. So we can do that if you want and
So-
make the voice talk.
So we can revisit this then. Mhm. We can revisit this later in the day.
Yeah.
After Kamara's had the chance to determine the details, we can then figure out if we have enough time to acquire this cat.
Charlene and her heart of gold. It's so typical druid, though. Screw the city, save the kittens.
Exactly. And now it's like, oh wait, it was going to take us a month, and now it might take us like a week. That means that we have like a whole 3 weeks we could look for the Quado Cat.
Okay, so let's keep this moving along. Pick up the energy and tell me what you guys. Who's doing what? Let's keep it moving.
Zane is first gonna
Get a haircut.
get a haircut. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
I'll go visit with
I'm just gonna take him upstairs.
people, whoever wants to go.
Kamara, you cut out a little bit. I'm sorry. Did you say you're visiting Nina?
I guess it's Mina, because I said Alara, but yeah.
Oh, I
Mina's
couldn't.
fine.
I just heard. That's all I
Yeah,
heard.
I honestly forgot her name. That's why I called her his girlfriend.
You forgot Nina's name.
Sorry, I did.
After all of that jealousy.
No, I would, yeah, I'd see Mina, because I think she would be closer anyway. Right.
Okay, so who is going with Kamara?
Aramil will go.
Charlene's going to say to the group, does anyone think that they are going to need me for the next 8 hours?
No, I mean,
That's an oddly specific
you'd like your
amount of time.
company, but what are you doing for 8 hours?
I'm going to hang out with Bird. I haven't been with him.
Can I insight check that?
Yes.
$13.
Okay. Second, I'm looking at my skills. Okay. Holy shit, nat 20.
Okay.
Charlene is just almost in tears over how much she is missing the bird. Kamara,
okay.
you start to wonder if Charlene maybe has a strange attachment to bird.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get to know you a little bit more. You're acting really weird. So let's go, Aramil. And I give Charlene a really strange look. Strangest look I've ever given her in my life.
Aramil gives Charlene a bow.
Kamara
wish
is
you luck.
totally not thinking about animal shapes right now. Okay. So Randolph Phineas is cutting Zane's hair. Charlene is hanging out with Burr. And Aramil and I almost said Kostiama. Aramil and Kamara head over to the Gilmore estate. Okie dokie dokie. Where is the map? There we go. Okay, so the familiar gates that are covered in kind of a shimmering, translucent magical aura. And as you guys walk up, you ring the little bell that's on the outside. And after a moment, the snooty butler with the coiffed hair, Galvestad, approaches the two of you and gives you a curt bow. Kamara gives Aramil a little bit of a lower bow.
Aramil bows right back. Sorry to take up your time, Ken. We were just hoping to see either Mina or Allura if she's still staying here.
He looks you up and down and kind of sniffs. At least you're clean this time. He kind of touches the barrier and it dissipates. And he starts leading you in. You said the ladies. You're not here to see the Lord again.
I mean, if he's here, we can see him too.
Aramil takes a casual look among the garden. If he's here, it would be nice to speak to him.
I do believe he is at the shop. The ladies are in, however. Or at least Mina is. I'm not sure about Allura. And he opens the doors and you guys head into the estate. He goes up, he excuses himself, goes upstairs, and Bestie!
Hello.
Oh, hi, Kamara. I didn't mean to ignore you, but hi.
Aramil can't help but have a slight grin. Good to see you today, Mina.
I know, right? I've been wanting to catch up with you since the festival. That was a lot of fun, don't you think?
Insight check to see if Mina is insinuating about meeting for the first time casually at least.
Meeting what?
Gilmore, of course.
Okay, go ahead.
Aramil sort of looks at her because, yes, catching up would be nice, but also realizes that something may have been going on.
Just with you guys in these nat 20s. What you can tell is that she's definitely wanting to hear the juicy from you and figure out what you thought of everything. Yes.
Alright. Aramil sort of shakes his head and says, we have business first. Sorry to bother you with that. Something so, I guess, normal for us now, but we will be leaving soon. I don't know if you've heard about the quest that our group has taken.
Her face falls and she looks between you and Kamara. What do you mean you're leaving?
We're leaving.
On
Going
a
out.
jet plane. Sorry.
Yep. there's some important business that we must do, and we have 3 possible ways to get there, and I was hoping you could help with one of those ways to make it a little bit faster.
Aramil takes a look at Kamara as she says business and says, "Could you elaborate for Mina? She's a friend of ours."
She looks between the two of you and then looks back at Kamara with a smile and raises an eyebrow. Elaborate away.
I just want to talk about the getting there faster. You're so close to Aramil and Zane. They would do a much better job at explaining it than me.
Her eyes narrow a little bit as she looks at you. Very well. What can I do to help? Wait, did you say Zane's going?
Yes.
She kind of bites her lip. When was this decision made?
Like yesterday or 2 days ago.
I believe it was official at the council meeting. Aramil sort of talking over the possible times with Kamara. I believe it was made official during the meeting with the council last night.
Huh. Well, can't say I'm not a little bit disappointed that your curly-haired friend isn't here with you, but what do you need from me?
Well, I know about teleportation circles, and there's some around, but we need a powerful arcanist to help us with that. And you are one of those, so could you help us with that?
She kind of taps her finger on her lips, says, teleportation circles are sort of tricky things and there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of requirements. Where do you need to go? I guess it would all depend on that.
Around like Stillbend area?
Ooh.
Nocturne?
That
kind of thing. Yes.
Her eyes go really wide. And she looks over at Aramil. I always knew Kamara was a big kidder, right?
Aramil looks as serious as ever and shakes his head.
Okay, hold your horses. You guys are not going to Nocturne.
Well, I guess we'll have to take a couple months then. I'm sorry you can help. And I start to turn around.
I can, but here's the thing. People don't come back from Nocturne, Kamara.
I will come back. Zane will come back. I will make sure of it.
She bites her lip again. So from my understanding, that's somewhere to the southeast. Not that I've done much research on the subject. It's kind of frightening, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of near Stillbend, I believe. That's what it looks like on the map. Anyway.
Well, see, here's the thing. Only the most powerful of cities have the capability of creating the teleportation circle. Unfortunately, Stillbend is kind of a dirty, slummy swamp, to put it nicely. Not really much in the way of high-level arcane technology there, if you get my drift. Honestly, there's only a few cities in Tal'dorei that currently have teleportation circles. That would be Amon, Craghammer, and Singorn, of course. And of the ones I mentioned, Singorn is probably the closest. It would put you about halfway through your journey, but then you would have to cross the mountains.
I think that would do. I mean, my travel isn't that bad, is it?
Haven't really gone that direction, I can't say. She looks at Aramel.
I've
Yeah,
been to Singorn and I've never crossed over that mountain range. When I've traveled, it's only been west or north.
well, I mean, if you manage to make it to Singorn, you could probably hire yourself a guide. There's just one little issue I would kindly remind you of, Aramel.
You mean about Nocturne?
I mean about Singorn. And she kind of like gestures her chin over to Kamara. Aramel, you know that the elves of Singorn are rather racist. And while most of the races are tolerated, tieflings aren't really well accepted. It's not like they're all out like attacked on sight, but most of the time, unless they have a very good reason to be there, they're not allowed in the city. Now, that's not to say that she couldn't teleport in and make her way out of the city, but she's just kind of kindly reminding you that it may not be an easy place for Kamara.
Do I catch that?
You see her gesturing at you with her chin, but you don't know what I just told him.
Aramil gives a quick nod.
If you're talking about me, it's fine. I can do things to change myself.
Well, okie dokie then. The other issue is it's a little bit costly. The reagents for the spell gonna run you about 3,000 gold pieces. Teleporting one person isn't that much of an issue, but an entire group, and I'm assuming you want to bring horses and supplies unless you're like stupid.
How much would that cost altogether, do you think?
Well, of course, I won't charge you for my time because we're besties, but yeah, 3,000 gold pieces.
You'd probably use Zane's money or something like that.
She looks
You'd be
between
fine with
the two of you.
We
Is
did
that too much?
actually. It shouldn't be. I wasn't completely paying attention when we were discussing the conditions, but we did get a sum of 25,000 gold for preparations and for accomplishing this. So that should be more than enough to cover the 3,000 and the teleport cost, even if we have to pay it when we return.
Not a bad sum, but personally, I wouldn't go to Nocturne for that. I guess whatever this is, it must be very important. And she kind of gives you a look that makes you feel a little guilty, like you're not telling me anything.
Well, if you don't want to explain it, Kamara, of course I have no problem doing it. We are looking for an artifact once stolen by the Drow or Dark Elves. It is an artifact capable of shaping the earth completely. The quakes that have happened recently, and the large one, are caused by the actual earth underneath the city losing its foundation after being occupied. So we need to get this artifact that was stolen from the dwarves and was last seen in Nocturne back, so we may prevent another one of those cataclysmic quakes.
She gives a little bit of a low whistle. And then she pats you on the cheek and says, "See, Kamara, that wasn't so hard." And actually, I might
He
be
did
able
it
to
well,
help
though.
out a little.
Mhm.
Sorry, what did you say?
He does it so well, though. Keep going.
Yes, he does. And she pinches his cheek.
Aramil just looks back very seriously.
She kind of taps her lips again. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit of a shrewd negotiator and say that if you don't send that floppy-haired, horse-smelling lord over to me to talk about this, I'm not helping at all.
He's gonna come anyway once he finds out. No need to worry about that.
Her eyes narrow. He didn't last time.
Well, he will now. Got nothing to say about that.
Thank you, Kamara.
Thank you for helping us.
And like I
Okay.
said, I think there's a little something else that I might be able to come up with, but that all depends on if he shows his.
Okay. Good to know.
Aramil.
He turns to continue keeping eye contact with her.
Could you let Kavara and I have a little bit of a lady?
He nods and looks for a particular tree in the garden and sees if the first branch up is solid and hangs out there looking up at the sky.
She waits till Aramil's out of earshot, and she turns it over to you, Kamara. Didn't mean offense about Sangorn, but you see, not all the elves are quite like me and Aramil. They're a lot more like my butler Galvestad.
Yeah, he kind of treated me differently. His bow was less deep.
And as much as your interesting looks would be a detriment in Sangorn, you might be the only one who could pass well in Nocturne. I wanted to mention that because you're going to have a plan to keep the others safe.
So, Nocturne, they'll treat me well, but them poorly.
Exactly. Nocturne is a place that our parents tell us horror stories of at night when we misbehave as children. It's full of demons and devils, dark elves. Everything that's... And then she hesitates, realizing what she just said.
Half me?
Sorry.
I've heard it before.
Just... I guess what I'm trying to say, Kamara, is you're kind of the smart one of the group, so make sure there's a place.
Of course. I would not go there without having a plan to get back.
Okay.
Okay. I'm glad we had this talk. And
Girl
you
time
really
is
don't
always-
have
it's
to. And you don't have to worry about Sangorn. I will change myself completely if you worry about that and with Zane and everything, because I know some people don't like or very racist. So yes, she is smart. Thank you.
Honestly, the only one who's going to be well accepted in Sangorn is Aramil. But They're tolerant of humans. I don't even know what they would think about Charlene. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I think about Charlene.
They'll probably be very interested in her because she kind of looks healthy.
I suppose. Okay, well, have him come and talk to me, and I will make sure you have all the information you need.
Thank you. And I will.
Okay, I don't want to cut you short, but Aramel and Kamara, is there anything else you want to do, or are you headed back?
Headed back.
Aramel left Mina hanging. He's still in a tree though.
Okay, she walks out with Kamara, and you see them kind of cross the courtyard as they go towards the front.
Alright, Aramel hops down and says, "Now that business is taken care of, you had a question for me."
Did I?
You asked me how the festivities went.
Oh, right. You looked really nice that night. I still think you should wear your hair down. You're not doing yourself justice.
Aramel takes a breath, and his hair is currently braided. This is the only method that allows for me to either ride or walk without impairing vision. It's also how I grew up.
Okay.
I did attempt to work with that style, but it didn't seem to like me as much as others liked it. I also managed to meet and talk with Gilmore.
Oh, how did that go? She kind of looks up like she's not interested, but
Well, I definitely learned something.
mm-hmm.
He's debating exactly what to say to her. He's going to leave it at that. Unless she asks something back.
So do you turn and start walking away?
Yeah, he starts walking away. It's like, well, good day.
Wait. Oh, no, that is wrong. She kind of follows after you. What did you learn?
What did I learn? Well, actually, it was quite informative. Gilmore taught me some dance steps that I didn't know before. Understanding them could help me, but it wasn't quite my style.
She gives a big sigh. Oh, Aramel.
He raises a brow. I've also learned that he seems to approach romance very similarly to the books that we've been reading. It's quite the coincidence.
Really? I never thought about that. That is a coincidence.
Well, it is a shame, but I learned that romance is not like it is in the novels.
Well, it could be. Just think on it. Make sure you say bye before you go. She gives you a hug. And she kind of waves at Kamara, who's probably standing by the gate now, ready to be gone. Anything else, Basta?
Nope.
Okay. So the two of you, I'm assuming you're heading back to the lawn. Real quick, Charlene, can you kind of talk out? Sorry, I didn't let you answer. I kept talking. Are you heading back to the llama?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Caramel? Okay. Charlene, tell me what you're doing.
Okay. So, first thing I do is with my staff, I go and get Bird.
Okay.
Is Bird with kids right now, or?
So Bird has been given a tether of honor out in the courtyard. And she has kind of like I don't know what it's called, a bird stand. And she's
Okay.
tethered to it, but she's tethered to it in a way that she can kind of fly quite a bit, maybe 10, 15 feet up in the air. She's got like a couple toys hanging from the thing. She's got food and water that she can access. And she seems pretty content.
Okay. So, first things first, I'm going to speak with animals.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Bird. So how do you like it here?"
Yummy.
Yeah, we do feed you a lot of good things here, don't we?
Jingle, jingle. And she, with her claws, she plays with one of the toys and it makes a jingle sound.
So, not to be rude, but would you like to be smarter?
Did you ask her if she wants to be a martyr?
No, I said smarter.
Okay, that cut off.
I said not to be rude, but would you like to be smart?
Smarter? She tilts her head to the side.
Yeah.
Smarter? More food.
Yeah, you definitely would be able to get more food if you were smarter, I think.
Me smart bird.
Okay, I think that's all of the consent that I need. Yeah, if you want to get smarter, fly over to me, and we're gonna hang out for a while, and I'm gonna help you get smart.
Okay, so I'm assuming you untether her. She flies over onto your leather gauntleted fist.
Yep. And then I sit down with her, with my staff, and for the next 8 hours, I cast Awaken.
Okay, I'm going to ask you which particular direction you're going with that spell.
Do you mean with the like NPC related things?
Right. And if you want to, we can talk about it through the course of the week if you haven't decided.
Yeah, for this one, I think that's best.
Okay.
Actually, I know the answer. I just forgot the name.
Okay. It's
But
fine.
yeah.
I know it's late for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure you message me through the week. And we'll go over all the stats and make you a character sheet for Bird. Is the name going to remain Bird?
I think after the 8 hours is up, Charlotte is going to say, now that you could think about it more, would you still like to be called Bird, or would you like to pick a new? Do you like to pick it for you?
So she, for the first time in her life, comprehends that Bird is a title, not a name, and decides that she wants a new name. And again, I'll let you pick that throughout the course of the week too.
Okay. And when I said it to her this time, I did not cast Speak with Animals. I was speaking Common, and she responded to me in Common.
Very cool. Okay. The group now has a talking hawk.
Yay!
After your 8 hours, Charlene, you kind of come out of your meditation to see Bailey kind of hovering on the edge of your vision. You can tell that he's been there for a while. And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just watching. Mom asked me to give you this." And he hands you a letter and then looks at Bird and says, "Can you really talk now?" To Bird.
And would you like to talk for Bird, or would you like Bird?
We'll figure that in the future. For right now, you play Bird.
Okay. He's been feeding her a lot of the time, right?
He takes care of all the animals, yeah.
Yeah. So, Charlene is going to, like, nudge her head over towards him and, like, wink at Bird. And then she's gonna just fly over. And of course, she's smart enough. I feel like she could land into his shoulder without actually digging in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's gonna say, yes, I can.
He looks absolutely amazed, and he kind of starts petting her, which he probably hadn't before, since, wild. And then after a little bit of this, he kind of like gently hands her back over to you. And Charlene, he gives you this look that is just the most sincere, adorable, gleaming eye look of admiration that you've ever seen. And his cheeks kind of flush, and he says, Miss Charlene, when I grow up, I'm going to marry you. And then he runs off. Okay, so I do have a question. Where is this haircut taking place?
Imagine Zane's room.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Zane?
Well, I mean,
Okay.
my first thought was in the courtyard, but
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because
There's
that's
a courtyard?
Yeah, so that's where Charlene was with Bird. There's a courtyard back behind the llama where there's a stable and there's like animals and
I
like.
didn't know that.
So you guys could be back there and you could have witnessed all of this if you wanted to, but that would also mean that like if you're in the bath, that Charlene's there. So it's up to you.
Wherever Zane takes him to.
It's probably not going to take very long. So I mean, we would have only witnessed the beginning parts of it. So
30
Yeah,
minutes or so.
the back.
Okay. So I am interested in hearing a little bit of role play between Zane and his new hireling, if you guys are up for it. In just a few minutes before we end for the night.
Cool.
So Zane, Zane will grab a stool and take off his shirt and put a towel around his neck and all right, let's do this.
And Randolphinius grabs his barber kit, and comes down and pulls everything out, adjusts the towel properly, and proceeds to start cutting away the locks of his hair. Not really asking him what he wants. Actually not asking him at all what he wants. He's just going to town, and he is proceeding to make him look like the noble he should be. Hmm.
Did
Does he have
you?
a beard?
Huh?
Does he have a beard right now, or is he does he keep himself fresh shaven?
He's probably got like a few days growth.
Yeah, it's gone. He'll get rid of that too.
Couple weeks
After he
growth.
cuts your hair.
Did you choose a picture of what his hair looks like? Will look like soon, so you can show
Me?
everyone after.
No. I will though if you want. I can do that.
Did you see the whisper that I sent?
Oh no. I did not. I have a spell there.
Okay.
Nope. Sorry. But yeah, I'll get that in there. I'm
Yeah.
a little out of it. Sorry. I'm getting tired.
So say, I haven't had my haircut in a while.
Hmm.
You know what you're doing.
Yes, it's quite obvious. I'm glad you don't have any vermin running around up here. You'd be surprised at how many of the nobles just let lice and bugs crawl all through their hair.
I actually have a problem with being filthy for too long. I I need to. I wash myself off often.
Hmm. Well, that is the makings of a noble. You keep up this practice. On the road it'll be hard, but I'll do my best to take care of you, my lord.
Okay.
Stop fidgeting.
So some time passes, and that I'm assuming in silence as you work, and then Rain will say, "Forgive me for being too personal, but your face when you met Lysander looked a lot like how I reacted when he first entered my mind."
The mention of that, you see a slight crack in his bearing, but he recovers like almost imperceptibly if you're paying attention to him. And he says, "I just was not prepared for intrusion of my mind of that level. Some things were brought up from my past that were better left not known." He keeps cutting your hair now, a little more focused and vigorous.
Well, usually, well, at least for me, I don't know what he did with the others, but he impacted me so much that it changed me. And I needed to see what he had to show me. Was it the same with you?
He sits there quietly for a minute. Well, my apologies, my lord, but I do not know you well enough to share such personal experience. Maybe on our journey I'll be more inclined to open up. But for now I just know that it shook me to my core, and I'm still processing what I've
I
seen.
apologize if I was getting too personal. I merely was wondering if it affected you the same way.
No, no, no. While it is most improper, this kind of talk between casual talk between a noble such as yourself and someone of my standing, I do appreciate your concern.
Oh, very well. Just know that I mean, you probably have already surmised that I am not the typical noble.
Right.
And I will speak to you as my equal.
Well, thank you, my lord. I will strive to be worthy of such attention. He'll shave you up, and you know he'll small talk with you and talk a little bit about Ruth, and we'll get to know it. You'll get to know Randolph Phineas a little bit about his personal
Oh,
life. He's
I want to hear how you describe Ruth. so,
it
so
just
I'm going to say so. Uh, how were you able to stay under Vale's radar for?
He kind of snickers. He's like, hmm. That lord is quite busy with other things. He
Sorry.
granted, he does, treats his staff well. They are still servants. Mostly go under the radar. It's quite easy to get into a noble's house, actually. Um, if you know the right words, walk with confidence, pretty much stroll into anywhere.
Interesting.
The Lord Veiler, and there's he sees to the core of you. It's a little creepy if you ask me.
Yes, creepy, but useful, in my opinion.
I guess if you're in such work that requires ferreting out deception.
So, what was the name of the woman you were seeing?
Oh, Ruth. She's a lovely young human girl. I know. Wouldn't be approved of in most places, but I just can't get enough of young Ruth.
Tell me about her.
Well, let me think. I think she was a young scullery maid for a while, when I met her, and she's moved her way up into the housekeeping. She does a well job. She's quiet, a little mousy, but I like her. She's got big dreams, Like me, one day I aspire to become maybe the chamberlain of a royal line, or I don't know, be something of some importance and work for an important house and do good.
Well, there will be changes that'll be made here soon. You might even be able to dream bigger.
Well, that's nice to think about, but in my experience, things never work out the way you want them to.
That's certainly true.
A little bit off here, and I think you look quite the proper noble, if I do say so myself, my lord.
I assume you pull out a mirror. And,
Yes.
And...
We'll say that it's kind of like, went from Ned Stark to Jon Snowy, you know what I'm saying? Haircut. Nice and noble-like. Not too short, though, but not too long.
From Ned Stark to Jon
Not
Snowy.
Ned Stark, I'm sorry.
From Jon Snow to Ned Stark?
Yeah, like real nice and pulled in where it was a little bit, curly, right?
In my head, I was picturing from Tony Stark to Jon Snow.
Tony Stark. That's funny. I made his hair grow longer.
Yeah, you'll have to you'll have to show me a picture of what he looks like now.
All right,
when we get the chance.
Yeah, put that on Discord for us at some point during this week.
Will do.
Wow, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah. I think even your Lady Love will like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. People talk.
Now, out of character, have I mentioned Mina at all?
No, you haven't.
So, I'll go. Yes. Wait a minute. How do you know? How do you know of Mina? I don't think I've ever mentioned her in front of you.
My lord, you are talking to the best manservant in Iman. Servants have eyes. He kind of smiles at you a little bit. Will there be anything else, my lord?
He's gonna look at him, and he has that look on his face of that woman who's like doing calculations in her head. That meme. Uh, and he's gonna go, no, no, but no, that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. I have so much to teach you about being a noble lord.
So
And at this point, there's a loud knock on the door, and Bailey runs in and says, "Lord Blackthorn, one of the guards brought this for you. He said it was important." And he hands you a letter, and you open it, and that is where we're going to end tonight. Sorry to cut things short, but it is midnight. I know that this, again, we've had a lot of